Hey everybody, welcome to Midas Letter Live. Yet another day here in the studio high atop the financial district in downtown Toronto, where the wheels of the economic engine are grinding further through the cannabis downturn. Yes, once again, we're faced with another down day in the cannabis market, and there's nobody being spared. Nobody, I tell you. But first, before we get to all of that lovely nonsense, I'm going to tell you that I have some horrible news. Horrible news. It is, like most horrible news, balanced by some good news. The horrible news is that our planned interview with Cam Batley has been postponed, and we don't know when we're going to see him. He's supposed to call me today at 4 o'clock to reschedule, which means I'll be answering the phone in the middle of this conversation, which may or may not qualify as entertaining or information. However, what can I do? I am just in the position I'm in, and we are all just floating along on a ball of dust, and we're all going to die soon anyways. But the good news is that Cam said, if anybody really complains, so I encourage all of you to complain vociferously and in text and in writing in our various chat forums on Facebook and YouTube, that he would give anybody who was brokenhearted about his having to break his commitment free product after October 17th. Free product. He doesn't work for Kraft Macaroni and Cheese. He doesn't work for Chanel. He works for Aurora Cannabis Corp, and I think free product might be a good consolation prize instead of his presence here. If you don't agree, complain bitterly. I'll forward your address to Cam. Maybe you'll get something in the mail after October 17th. Maybe he was just kidding. We don't know. Anyways, you'll notice my seat over here, empty. I got nobody. I got nothing. I've got only myself and a couple of pre-recorded guests that we did earlier today that I'm going to share with you because they're both great. But it's just going to be me today. I know, heartbreaking. Anyways, I guess we'll start off with the cannabis news because that seems to have become our habit. And so, not wanting to break with habit for no reason, here we go. Aurora Cannabis and MedRelief have closed the world's largest cannabis industry transaction. Yes, it is official. Holders of MedRelief common shares received 3.575 common shares of Aurora for each MedRelief common share held. Now, the big question is, where's all the selling coming from in Aurora? Do you think it might be people who are selling MedRelief? Could be. Or selling their new Aurora shares. Who knows? Completion of the transaction creates a unified cannabis industry leader with a combined funded capacity of more than 570,000 kilograms of cannabis per year to be delivered via 9 facilities in Canada and 2 in Europe. 570,000 kilograms per year. Let's just do some rough math on that. If a kilogram of cannabis on a wholesale basis goes for $4,000, then what is 4,000 times 570,000? I'll save you the mathematics. It's, am I going to be wrong here? $2.8 billion worth of cannabis? What? Would that justify a $10 billion market cap? Oh gosh, maybe it will. Anyways, my math might not be perfect, but it's close. The company will have more than 1,200 employees. MedRelief announced after the market that they've acquired Med Columbia SAS. So what? Wait a sec. Aurora just acquired MedRelief, but MedRelief is out there acquiring companies like this Colombian company. I guess that was something they've been working on. Med Columbia is a company with licenses in Colombia to cultivate cannabis and produce cannabis oil extracts, along with a library of cannabis genetics, for a total consideration of 2.75 million euros in cash. Am I reading that right? 2.75 million euros. Interesting. Transacting, maybe it's, I'm going to think it's got to be USD. Why would a Canadian company spend euros to buy a Colombian company? I don't know. We'll get some clarification from the research department on that before we go too much further. This acquisition will provide MedRelief with the ability, I guess we should just take that out, and will provide Aurora with the ability to produce low-cost, high-quality raw materials to serve its global supply chain, as well as the domestic Colombian medical cannabis market. There are now 5 companies, to my knowledge, operating in Colombia. There are some operating there who I don't actually talk about because I don't consider them contenders, so they will not be mentioned on this show. But the 5 that we know and love, of course, Chiron is the first one that we saw get licensed and actually advance the medical agenda in Colombia. Then, of course, Vic Neufeld's Afria has made an acquisition in Colombia. Canopy Growth has made a Colombian acquisition, and this brings us now with MedRelief to 4, not 5. I'm missing one. Oh well. I'll get back to that one in soon. Continuing with this news flow today, Delta 9 Cannabis Inc., TSX Venture listed under the symbol NINE, announced they have come to terms on a $12 million loan and credit facility with a Tier 1 Canadian chartered bank. $12 million bucks with a Tier 1 bank. That's not bad. It's not groundbreaking. It's not astounding, but we'll reserve judgment on that one until we get to hear the name of the bank. Anyways, the name of the bank is not being released at this time, as a non-disclosure agreement is in effect until the signing of a definitive loan agreement. Radiant Technologies, TSX Venture listed RTI. Now, this is another big investment of Aurora's, has released their financial results for the fiscal year ended March 31st, 2018. Highlights include a cash balance of $21.9 million, up from $11.4 million for the same period last year. Long-term debt has ratcheted up to I'm misreading this. The long-term debt of over $8.1 million was extinguished. That's an interesting choice of words. I think they paid it. Extinguished, yes. And they completed a private placement with Aurora Cannabis for gross proceeds of $6.2 million. Aurora also converted its $2 million in convertible debentures into 14.2 million units. Interesting. Quinsam Capital Corporation, CSE listed QCA, announced the declaration of its 16th quarterly dividend. The dividend is 0.00125 cents per share, which is equivalent to $500 per year for every 100,000 shares you own. Okay. MedMen Enterprises, CSE listed MMEN, announced that they have completed a strategic investment in the Hacienda Company. The Hacienda Company owns Lowell Herb Company, a California-based cannabis brand known for its pack of pre-rolls called Lowell Smokes. Over 250 dispensaries across California currently carry the Lowell brand. That is all of the cannabis news today. So, now for your dining and dancing pleasure, I think we're going to have a conversation with Justin B. Marshall, our new correspondent from the west coast of California, based in Monterey County in Carmel by the Sea, California, himself a purveyor of cannabis products in the form of topical creams, vapes, and other things that they actually provide for free to cancer patients, which is why we instantly like Justin so much. Here is that conversation. Hey, welcome back to Midas Letter Live. My guest in this segment is Justin B. Marshall, joining us from Carmel, California via Skype. He is one of the master cannabis growers in Monterey County. Justin, thanks for joining me.
James, thanks for having me here.
Justin, I'd like to start with an explanation of exactly what is your business down there in Carmel, California.
I'm a cannabis consultant. I train doctors, patients, investors on the benefits of cannabis. Also, we make products trying to help heal the world.
Beautiful. What kind of products do you make?
We make a CBD, THC sports cream. And basically what this does is we have a higher CBD and THC count than any of our competitors at a much lower price. So we would like to get this product out there.
Yeah, interesting. So how did you come to be in that business in California?
James, I've been growing cannabis for 40 years, and I've been brokering produce for about 30 years. we decided about 3 years ago that we would like to use the medicine in the cannabis to heal cancer patients and actually patients with AIDS and a wide range of diseases.
Interesting. So so you make these creams, these topical creams. Who's your market for these? Is it just athletes?
Well, we're starting with athletes and retired athletes, and we're also dealing with basically anybody that needs it. We're selling through boutiques and massage parlors, just basically, and we have opening an online platform soon. But that's basically what we're doing. Also, I'm looking at the global cannabis industry and seeing how it's going to impact California and how we can be a part of it.
Very cool. So you grow all of the plants that go into your product?
No, actually, we grow some of the plants that go into our product. We do a lot of testing. We're actually coming up with new strains. We're developing strains, as we've been doing for years. And we feel these strains will be very popular in the future. We're basing our business model on the Cookie Crew, and they're excellent branders from San Francisco area that have been in the branding of their strains for quite some time, and they're doing a great job at it.
Yeah. So in California, I've noticed that since the legal sort of statewide laws have come into place, that the cost of cannabis to a consumer has gone up by 40% thanks to taxes. And at the same time, there's a huge supply squeeze because the stringent rules governing testing means that 70% of the cannabis growers trying to supply the retail market can't actually provide cannabis that's free of pesticides. Is that a problem that's going to persist, or is that a problem that's going to be solved?
That is a problem. You're right, James, and I heard you talking about this yesterday on your show. I'm seeing that on the street. Right now, there's basically 7 or 8 strains that are available in dispensaries, opposed to 40 or 50, which I saw a couple years ago. And what that means is people that are doing the large grows are not able to grow the special strains that a lot of us cannabis connoisseurs want. They're finding losses, they're getting mold, they're not able to grow this correctly. So what we're doing is we're now have an initiative in Monterey County where we're able to grow cannabis outdoors as well. And we've been doing that for 40 years here and finding it to be very organic and quality. Okay,
so you were telling me earlier about your approach to making the mildew resistant, and you said you added something to the soil.
Actually, James, we add actinovate. Yes, we add actinovate to the young plants as they're growing. And so we water that in, it becomes part of the plant, and it becomes mold resistant. So as the plants mature, they're very less likely to get mold. And we also, of course, use strains that are naturally mold resistant. For example, we're crossing a Frisian Dew with a Big Sur Holy Bud this year, and that's going to create a special lifted lighthouse strain, which is one of our brands. And so when we're coming up with new strains and new CBD, high CBD strains as well, we're able to cross mold-resistant plants and add the actinovate.
Okay, so this ingredient, actinovate?
Actinovate, yes.
And it's an organic fungicide?
That is correct.
What is it made from?
I don't know the exact ingredients. Our people in the science department are well versed on that. I don't know exactly what it's made of, but I do know it's organic.
Okay, so why aren't all of these growers who are having problems getting weed through the testing process, why aren't they using it now?
That's a great question, and maybe some of them are. We just learned about this last year, and so it's pretty much new for growers to understand. It's breaking technology as far as I'm concerned. Most people didn't know about this last year.
That's really interesting. So let me ask you, Justin, you've got this nucleus of a great business by the sound of it. How are you going to, are you like seeking to grow it into a national brand?
Eventually, once cannabis becomes federally legal, we would love to go national and international if possible, and global. For right now, we're very happy being in the state of California, and the new laws that have opened up here are very, very promising. You know, and we embrace what's happening in the cannabis culture here in California, and what's happening with cannabis industry.
Huh. Do you think that the increase in the cost of cannabis for the retail consumer, i.e. they've got to pay an additional 40% in taxes now above what they used to get it for from their dispensary, do you think that's going to make more people turn to what we'll call illicit sources?
I certainly do. I certainly do. And that's something that I noticed Cam Batley was talking about a few weeks ago. I watched an interview of his. He also feels this way, I noticed, that if we could lower the taxes, we can secure that the legal cannabis will go to the consumer. Right now, if cannabis is so expensive and a person could go on the street and get it for 1/3 the price, they're going to do that. You know, it's just common sense. And so by lowering the taxes and increasing the availability for consumers to get at a dispensary the quality cannabis that we're looking for, the medicine that we need, then that will make a big difference, yes.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. That's really interesting. So in Monterey County, how many dispensaries are there?
We had 2 new dispensaries open up last week. We have one in Carmel, actually, that's been here for about 1.5 years, that is similar to the MedMen store, but a little bit classier. I'd love to give you a tour sometime. It's very nice. It's very warm and inviting, and the bud tenders are extremely knowledgeable. And the prices are higher, but I noticed that Bruce Linton one time was saying that his ideal clientele would be the woman with the Gucci bag. Well, that's all we have here. This is a very exclusive neighborhood, so we have a lot of money here. And we're able to help these people get the medicine they need, the organic medicine they need.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, Justin, next time we come there, which shouldn't be more than a couple weeks from now, we're going to come and see you first.
Thank you.
Yeah, so you're just south of San Jose.
Yeah, 2 hours south of San Francisco on the coast.
I've
Pebble
heard
Beach, a beautiful golf course here, world famous golf course.
Wow. Well, I'd have to take up golfing for that to be of interest. But okay, so the idea of topical creams is something that we don't hear too much about at this point in the evolution of the cannabis industry. So I guess what you're telling me is that CBD rich creams applied topically actually have an anti-pain effect, anti-inflammatory effect?
Yes, James, you're absolutely right. And after doing some very careful market research, I found that using a CBD full spectrum isolate taken from the Fedora strain of cannabis is what we're using, as opposed to using a CBD that's extracted from hemp. The first is better. So we use a better source of CBD, which has got 250 cannabinoids in it, opposed to about 100. And so using a better quality of CBD in our product works a lot better, and all of our patients agree. Secondly, we are able to get this at a very reduced price. We're able to buy it in bulk down here using local extractors and get the top quality stuff.
Okay, so does it follow then that there are some CBDs among the 250 that you mentioned that are more actively sort of able to mitigate pain than others?
Yes, James. I've been following very close what's going on over there in Israel, as they've been studying cannabis and the cannabinoid profile, the endocannabinoid system for 30 years. Their scientists have a lot of information that they're very willing to talk about. So in studying what these scientists have found, it is the entire full spectrum of cannabinoids that actually heal and kill the pain. So just isolating one cannabinoid doesn't really do it as well as having 250 cannabinoids working together.
Huh. That is interesting. I have a feeling I'm going to learn a lot coming to visit you.
I hope so, James. Likewise.
Yeah. Okay. Well, tell you what, Justin, we're going to leave it there for now, and we're going to come back to you probably in another day or two. We want to see your garden. We want to see your products. And so this is just the first of what I'm sure is going to be many conversations. Topical creams. Very interesting. I can't wait to try a topical cream. I've very seldom had used to use pain creams, so not sure what I'm going to do with it, but I'm sure I can come up with something. Anyways, yeah, that was Justin Marshall. He's in Carmel, California, and we're going to go down and visit him because he's got a really interesting operation down there. Let's see, what else is going on in the cannabis world? Earlier I was talking about the performance of the cannabis companies, and I was saying it was another down day, but I stand corrected by our very own indexes, which, you know, the Midas Letter Small Cap Index is up 14.2% on the day, up 112 points, and the Midas Letter CSE Index is up 16%. So clearly, it's not all red at all. In fact, it's the large caps that are down slightly. They're down 0.6%. Let's go over and see what's happening in the world of the large caps. In case you haven't checked it out yet, midasletter.com/cannabis, and you've got 4 cannabis indexes that are tracking all of the companies in various groups. This is the large cap index, which is all companies trading over $500 million in market cap as of July 1st, 2018. So you can see that Canopy's actually up just a little bit. Aurora's down just a little bit. And then we've got CanTrust Holdings has lost the most at 691. Don't know what's going on there. CanTrust has been shedding quite a bit lately. I propose that we invite Brad Rogers in for another interview and find out what's going on. What can I say? That would be the easy solution. Let's go see why the small cap index is doing so well. So now this index is all companies between market caps of 100 million and 500 million listed on a Canadian exchange in Canada. So there will be some TSX on here, there'll be some TSX Venture, there'll be some CSE. The criteria is you need to be between $100 and $500 million in market cap as of July 1st, 2018. If it's higher than that and it's not on this list, it's probably because it went over $500 million or over $100 million at some point after July 1st. So these are currently ranged by default in order of market capitalization, TerraSend obviously being the biggest. But if you click on the change by percent, we quickly bring up which company is performing the best according to percentage gain on the day. And this brings us to a company that I've not yet heard of or heard much of, is Benchmark Botanics Inc. is up 21.74% on the day, but it is on the small cap index, though it's well below $100 million. So it is possible, no, it's not possible. Let's go take a look at their chart, because unless they've lost a lot of value in the last week, they shouldn't even be on this index. They should not be on this index. I don't know why they are. Alex, I'm talking to Alex in the control room right now through our show. Hey, Alex, can you see why Benchmark Botanics is on the small cap index when its market cap is below 70 million or 80 million bucks? When you get a chance. So we'll just stop talking about Benchmark Botanics in the sense of being a small cap constituent. Let's go see if we can figure out why they are up today. This news, the last news is from July 12th, and they were granted a license to import cannabis into Canada. That's interesting. From the Netherlands. Really interesting. So now we're importing cannabis into Canada from the Netherlands, which we actually started off doing through the company called Bedrocan, which was one of the first ACMPR growers. But really, bringing in cannabis to Canada from the Netherlands now strikes me as a bit like bringing in wheat to Canada. Why would you bring in cannabis? Anyways, it's caused the stock to almost double. That's very interesting, or to increase rather dramatically. Yeah, don't know anything about the company. We'll call them up and see if we can get them in here for a conversation. See what else is going on in the small cap world that is justifying that big bump. Okay, looking at the biggest losers, Golden Leaf Holdings down to 19 cents. Boy, there's a company that since the first day it started trading, I consistently warned investors about that one, and certainly that chicken is coming home now to roost. Isodiol, down to $3.42, down 5%. Isodiol is a really interesting company who we've had in here before. I know some of you on YouTube have been clamoring for them to come in again and see what's going on. We will do so. Oh, they put out they consolidated their share capitalization today, which is probably a good thing. So they've gone from 395 million shares out to 39.6 million shares out. That is good news for any investor in that company post roll up. So that's a good thing. Let's see what else is happening here. We're going to cut to, okay, so I saw that somebody on YouTube was requesting that we talk to American, Marc-Antoine Dubé. James says, hey, I'm hungry for a American interview here. Hasn't been that long since we had Ben Ward on, but we will get him in again. Just want to shout out a hello to Neil Fletcher. And yeah, where is Cam? WTF. Mr. Lancelot, hello, hello. Ersky, Chiron, yeah, we love Chiron. X-Jester X suggests that Delta 9 is just distracting from Manitoba opening up further bids for retail, meaning that they'll no longer be one of only 4 in the near future. That's probably a good point. And Stephen Lee asked, what is up with Aurora today? Well, he's panicking. Don't panic. Stephen, don't panic. There's no reason to panic. You know what panic is? Panic is like paying the rent on a house you never get to live in. Anyways, yeah, Aurora is obviously still under a bit of selling pressure because, well, you've got a whole bunch of MedRelief shareholders who have got shares that are trading well, and so some of them are probably taking some money off the table. But mark my words, I will bet you dollars to donuts that there is going to be a pretty strong reversal in the trading of Aurora. And by way of full disclosure, Aurora is a client of our media production and marketing company, so I'd like to think that they're going to go back up just based on the power of our marketing program. No, but seriously, they've got a lot of great things going on, and there's been a lot of selling ahead of this news. I wouldn't want to be short Aurora at this point. Just a little hint to our short friends out there. Of course, they're going to tell me I'm full of shit, and then they're going to get squeezed, and then it's going to be a disaster. But mind you, they're never playing with anybody else's money generally except their own, so it's all good for them. Okay, back to our pre-recorded series. I also had the pleasure, or Ben had the pleasure rather, of speaking with MJardin, and here's that interview.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Midas Letter Live. This is your host Benjamin A. Smith, filling in for the absent James West, who's currently on the West Coast. Today we have a special guest in studio. I'm here with MJardin Group's Rishi Gautam.
Thanks for having me.
Great. Now, MJardin is seeking to raise capital on a best efforts basis. Is that part of a raising capital structure, or is that part of something else like a reverse takeover to?
Did you like that? Ben with a pinhead, squeezed. We obviously have a small technical issue with our playback mechanism here, so we're just going to tinkle with that just a bit. MJardin, what's the symbol in there, guys?
They're private.
Oh, MJardin is private.
MJardin. J is pronounced like...
MJardin.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're good. It's fine. We're good.
Let's try that again, shall we?
Hello everyone, welcome back to Midas Letter Live. This is your host Benjamin A. Smith, filling in for the absent James West, who's currently on the West Coast. Today we have a special guest in studio. I'm here with MJardin Group's Rishi Gautam.
Thanks for having me.
Great. Now, MJardin is seeking to raise capital on a best efforts basis. Is that part of a raising capital structure, or is that part of something else like a reverse takeover to list on exchanges?
So MJardin is on a path right now to do an RTO. We've announced a potential merger with a shell called Sumter Diversified earlier this year. We've been planning our capital market strategy for quite some time now, since early last year, really to line the institutional shareholders and get a more sophisticated capital base prior to a public listing. So about 30% of our company right now is owned by Canadian institutions, large, long-only investors in businesses, as opposed to traders or short-term investors. So we have that set up already. We're in the path to a listing, filing the application with the CSE, getting our audits done, just like many of the other companies out there now. And this is a pre-RTO financing where we're raising a small bit of money prior to going public. Okay,
are there any timelines or expectations of when your issue might come to market, or is that perhaps sometimes in the back half of 2019 or before?
It'll be this year, barring unforeseen, it should be in the fall.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Great. Now, reading over the company description, a lot of investors may not be fully aware of what your company does. You describe yourself as a turnkey cannabis cultivation, processing, and retail solutions provider, and also you help run facilities management. Now, perhaps you can narrow down the scope of what exactly your company does and how it makes money.
Sure. So our business, MJardin, was founded in 2014. The founders of our business have been in the legal cannabis space for about 10 years now. One of the founders went into the retail side and acquired a lot of retail licenses when it first went live in the state of Colorado. The other founder was a designer and manager of cannabis facilities. So we have one founder, James Lowe, who started the business as a management company, managing facilities on behalf of license holders, sort of a small niche management setup where he would get the design, do the planning, and ultimately manage the operations on behalf of a license holder. I came in as an investor in 2014, and we structured MJardin really as an institutional management company. We manage the assets, the cultivation, the processing, and the retail for a fee, just like a hotel manages a piece of real estate, calls it the Marriott or the W or some other brand. We're a hotel flag. So we come in with all of the know-how, the software, the people, the processes. Our licensed facilities have produced and sold over 100,000 kilos of product to date. So we have a huge depth of experience, and we're considered a management company first and foremost, not just a buyer of assets or a buyer of licenses. We know how to run these assets.
Okay, so that extends on the retail side as well, and
yes,
distribution of product, which I guess would be different than traditional property management company, for example, which manages the property. So this extends into advice, consultation, how to go to market with products. Does it sort of run the gamut?
Everything. So it's turnkey operations from seat to shelf, or from seat to sale, as they call it. We have started as a cultivation company in the beginning. We have acquired retail management companies as we've grown our business, and we think about the world as vertical integration. So we want to do the cultivation, the processing, and the retail, own those margins, own that distribution scheme, and that's how we pride ourselves. So it's turnkey, it's not consultative. We've done consulting agreements in the past. We've done turnkey management in the past, so we've started as an agent operating on behalf of license holders. Now we're morphing to principal. We're going to take ownership and run in the properties that we own ourselves.
Okay, that being the case, do you find it a challenge to stay focused on a particular aspect of the business with so many irons in the fire, so to speak, where you're sort of running, or help advising on the retail side, running properties, perhaps helping facility management and staffing concerns, or do you find the strategic focus of your company is somewhat challenging given that all the different areas that you're sort of encompassed in?
Not at all. So we're turnkey operations. We don't do advice. We don't do consultations. We run the asset. So we have a portfolio of assets that we manage. We manage over 30 assets today across the US and Canada. We have an exclusive partnership with GrowForce, which is our sister company based in Toronto. We manage all of GrowForce's assets in Canada and ultimately outside of North America as GrowForce expands. So we're a manager of assets. Our portfolio is run by asset managers that run each and every asset. And as a owner and looking to buy certain properties, we have an acquisition team that goes and looks at certain licensed facilities, whether it's California or Nevada, and goes out and buys the assets that we want to own and operate. So it's just like a hotel company. We have a certain portfolio today, we're growing our portfolio through acquisitions, and we have a team to do the management and a team to do the scouting.
It's kind of like a REIT in a way.
Better margins.
Better margins.
Yeah.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Now, in this late December, you announced a private placement financing for about $20 million US.
Correct.
Now, where did that money go to, and is that cash balance still on the books, or has that been deployed elsewhere?
So in January of last year, we started our march towards two main initiatives. The first one was morphing our business from agent, again, managing property for others, to principal, managing properties we want to own. So through that evolution, we wanted to obviously tap the capital markets, and we wanted to make sure that we weren't just doing an RTO or rushing to get listing just to be a public company. We were taking a lot of thought, a lot of preparation, and respecting the process of being a public entity. So that $20 million raise we did last year was in partnership with a firm called Kes7 Capital, based here in Toronto. They're a merchant bank that helped us get Canadian institutional investors in our business. So that private placement was led by Kes. The dominating investor in that capital raise was institutions based in Canada. So we diversified our shareholder base outside of the US with Canadian shareholders. And we used that capital to acquire retail management. So prior to that raise, we have cultivation and processing management and expertise. We bought the retail side of that. So it was an acquisition that gave us the full vertical integration, cultivation, processing, and retail. And that management company is now combined into MJardin, and we're going forward with future acquisitions where we're looking at retail, extraction, and cultivation assets.
Okay, so I'd imagine if the U.S. ever fully legalizes cannabis and deschedules cannabis as a federally illegal narcotic, that would just open up different markets, further markets to you in terms of being able to acquire assets that are attractive and that could be accretive to your balance sheet?
Absolutely, and the markets are open now. There's some very fragmented markets today. That presents a great opportunity for an operator or someone with operational experience and capital to go into various states where you have single store locations or maybe a collection of multi-store owned businesses.
Yeah.
They don't have the substantive infrastructure, they don't have the compliance, they don't have the bandwidth to expand as a business. We can come in with our background, that hotel management concept, and come in and either they're partners with us or we buy them out completely, and we can now take over those assets. And it's a great opportunity for us because the market's so fragmented. There's a number of different opportunities to get assets that are valued much lower than some of the public companies that are valued today.
Right. Well, it's funny that you mentioned that because the Midas Letter, we talked about how the California market in particular is very fragmented in terms of, you have dozens of different operators, you have people not in compliance all over the place. There's no real dominant entity there.
Right.
Now, is the California market something that you've already pursued, or is it something that, if you haven't, is it something that you look to pursue more going forward?
So we've have experience in over 13 U.S. states as a consultant or as a manager of assets. Now, as we're morphing from agent to principal and looking at owned operations, we're looking at a number of opportunities in California, Nevada, Arizona, and also on the East Coast, where we can come in as an owner-operator. California has been a state where we have experience consulting a few of the license holders. We've taken a step back and have a cautionary approach to certain assets we want to take ownership of, but we're actively looking at a number of opportunities, not just in California, but other states that are up and running, state-regulated, existing market today where we want to be an owner of assets. Okay,
terrific. Well, I think at this point we're going to leave it there. Midas Letter is going to obviously follow the story, and when you get on market, we'll be following the story through and through.
Okay, thanks for having me.
Oh, that was hot. I'm back here, and I've got somebody with me. Suzanne Garcia
We're back.
not only the studio scheduler, manager / administrator / bookkeeper / accountant / this, that, and the other thing. Suzanne is actually also a co-host and specializing in cannabis products, don't you know? Hi, Suzanne.
Hi, everyone. Hi, James.
How are you?
I'm good. It's
Yeah.
been some time. I
Yeah.
took a little break there.
I know. What was wrong? What happened?
Got camera shy.
Really? And now?
Now I'm good.
Now you're good.
I'm good.
All right.
Got over it.
You got over it. Awesome. Well, you're going to be a star. You know that?
Oh, God.
I'm pretty sure we're going to see.
Be a star.
Let's see. I will invite everybody to tell us how they feel about Suzanne's performance today. We want to make
Be
her feel
nice.
comfortable about this.
Be nice. I have a very fragile
Don't tell us
heart.
what you'd like to do with her outside of business hours. Hashtag us too. That will not be permitted. But yeah, so Suzanne, we were hoping to see Cam Batley today. And
I know.
what
We're
happened?
going to get him back, though.
Yeah, we're going to get
Your
him back.
phone might actually be ringing very shortly.
Actually,
in
my phone was
approximately
ringing. Your
12
phone?
minutes. No.
Okay.
Your phone. You have a call scheduled with Cam very shortly, so we
Oh.
might have to wrap this up soon.
Okay, well, but until then, first we're going to look at a video that is. Do we have another video? No, we don't have another video. Never mind. We're going to
don't
stick
have
with the.
another
We're going to stay with the
video.
program here. It is 3:48. So typically we make these broadcasts about 90 minutes occasionally, and sometimes more. But so, Suzanne, did you find some interesting products for us?
I did. This kind of stems along the conversation you were having with Justin in regards to just keeping mildew and mold off of cannabis plants. I think his method uses some sort of organic, I forgot what it was called.
It's an organic fungicide. It's
Yes.
called actinolite.
Isn't that a restaurant here in Toronto?
Well, there's a restaurant called Actinolite here, yeah. That's not what he was talking about, though. At least I don't think so.
No, but that was, you spray it onto the young seeds or the young plants. I found this product by Delta 9 Cannabis that you actually use to boost your flowers and maintain humidity levels.
What is it called?
It's called Integra Boost.
Really?
And just for $1 a pack, very economically friendly, you can keep your buds fresh for longer.
Huh.
Yeah, so I don't know if my converter is working, but maybe in the control room they can get it up.
Alex has it up. Alex is
Awesome.
scrolling it.
So yeah, it's called Integra Boost, and it's a 4-step process. And what they suggest is that you actually, in storing your buds after they've been cured and dried and whatnot, to prolong their, I guess, shelf life, is adding these packets into the sealed containers. And there's 3 steps. This is the little animated cartoon, but I'll just kind of reiterate. 3 steps. You place the packet into the container to be preserved and protected. Then you just, there's, oh, maybe that's Cam. We apologize.
Keep going, Suzanne, keep going.
Oh no, I'm by myself now. So I'm just reading off this. Step 2, it'll tell you, I guess there's like a little indicator dot when that needs to be replaced. And so you go conveniently, step 3, replace it, add either a new packet in, I think it is. And again, when that packet needs to be replaced, it'll indicate. I don't know exactly how long this is supposed to prolong the shelf life of your buds, but
If it works for you.
Marijuana does go bad after a while, and it tastes like it.
Thanks, man.
You don't want to smoke old.
Raunchy, skanky.
Yeah, exactly.
weed.
So this is
Good Lord. It's going to work? Is it going to work, though? Does it work? So Delta 9 is selling this.
Delta 9, and we have Delta 9 actually.
Delta 9 is coming in for
They
an interview.
are. They're not via Skype, but they'll be here next Friday.
Okay.
Yeah, they have a couple things in the works, and so it'll be good to get an update. And maybe they can discuss more so what this does. I don't know if it's more geared towards like just like you and I.
Yeah.
Using it at home, or if they have a larger
so it's
market
to keep
for it.
your weed fresh.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
well, dried out weed is a big problem.
Yeah. However, there's a science behind it, because too much humidity is not, or is a bad thing, but too dry will make it brittle and whatnot. So each packet indicates when you have to switch it.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's
science.
very useful. Very useful. Yeah, science. All right, I've got a product.
Okay.
And mine are to do with the topical cream industry / thing. I mean, we're going to look at Justin's much more closely when he brings us a sample or when we go and try it. But in the meantime, I started looking for cannabis topicals, and sure enough, there's tons of them.
Yeah.
I'm the one who doesn't know what's going on. Everybody else knows what's going on, but so maybe everybody else already knows about these. But I'm looking at these.
Latecomer to the
Yeah,
game.
exactly. I'm so out to lunch. So these are called Dixie Elixirs and edibles. So they've got a non-THC based line of health and wellness products. Now this is from a public company that trades on the OTC under the symbol MJNA. We don't own shares in them. We don't know anything about them. We don't know if it's a great investment or a stay away investment, but their products are interesting. I mean, oh, this is from 2012. I wonder if they're still around.
Should we call them?
We should. Let's see. General Hemp. Okay, so they were called General Hemp in 2012.
Google.
Let's see.
But topicals are great because they're just like cannabis-infused lotions and balms, oils that are just absorbed into the skin for lots of like pain relief, right?
Yeah.
But they're also used, I guess, for other things like inflammation. Maybe they'll help with skin, like dermatology conditions like eczema and psoriasis. That would be good.
All right, so let's see. We're going to wrap it up here today because we don't have a lot of stuff. So instead of trying to fill the time with fluff and no stuff, we're just going to call it a day, and hopefully we'll put together more of a show for you tomorrow, because tomorrow we have
Canna Royalty. Mark Lustig is
Mark
in
Lustig
studio.
from Canna Royalty. Now, this is a guy who has been dominating the United States sort of scenario in a lot of ways as a Canadian-listed company. We're going to talk to Mark about getting into the United States as the CEO of a Canadian-listed company. I don't know how that works. Anyways, we're going to talk to him about his recent acquisitions. We're going to talk to him about his increasing net asset value of his portfolio, and how they are transitioning into becoming more of an operator than just a portfolio player. So that's tomorrow. We also have
Emerald Health is coming back. That's
Bernie Hertel.
Chris Wagner.
Chris Wagner. Have we had Chris on before?
Possibly when we first started out in the studio, way back in 2017, but he's coming back. And Allison Gordon will be making an appearance.
Allison Gordon? Yes. Oh my gosh. 48 North. Cannabis. This is the probably, well, in that I haven't met a lot of women in the cannabis space. She's definitely the most vibrant woman in the cannabis space that I know of. And she is she's a firecracker. Like our last interview lasted, what, 30 minutes? And we could have kept going for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours.
Pull the plug.
Yeah.
Cut it short.
Exactly. We had to yank and bake. Anyways, so yeah, she's going to be in here. We're going to talk about 48 North. We're going to talk about a lot of things tomorrow. Tomorrow's probably going to be a bit of a better show. Also, Special Ed.
He's making a return.
Fast Eddie. Special Eddie Molesky is going to be here to analyze the technicals for us on the screen and basically advise us philosophically on many of the things that we are constantly talking about. So that's all happening tomorrow. We might even have Cam Batley tomorrow because he's supposed to make an appearance at some point soon. We've invited just a whole bunch of the top CEOs that are going to be here in the days ahead. So as I am broken recordly tired of saying, but it has to be said, click on subscribe, click on the little bell, and you'll get an alert when we are on time. And in Facebook, just tell everybody, like, subscribe, forward, share, friend, do all that stuff. Anyways, thanks for joining us. We're out.